Hey there, fight friends. Welcome to the MMA show, the show where we talk about only one thing, Canadian mixed martial arts, nothing else. We've got a great show this week. We've got 4 awesome guests for you to watch. We're going to start off with Abdel Essam, formerly known as Abdel Abdelaziz. He's fighting in the main event of FLA 25 this weekend, defending his FLA Featherweight title against Allan Ruiz. If you remember, Allan Ruiz just won the title last FLA at 24 against Morgan Rines in a great fight. And so this is going to be an interesting one. If you're curious about the name change, Abdel explains to me in the interview. Actually, I'm not sure if it's actually in the interview or if it was before the interview, but he's originally from Egypt. And when his family moved to Canada, they had a bit of a predicament because they don't use the typical like patriarchal male last name as a last name in Egypt. So he had to figure out what kind of name to call himself. And so I think it was his grandfather or great-grandfather, he used his last name because that's all he really had, and that was Abdel Abdelaziz. However, now his name's Abdel Rahman Essam, so he's going by Abdel Essam now. So I know a little confusing for Westerners, but yeah, it's good. That's who he is now. You might still see the promotion material say Abdel Abdelaziz, but that will probably stop moving forward. All right, following Abdel, featuring the co-main event from the same FLA, Cam Nelson. He is fighting Luis Guerrero for the vacant FLA Welterweight Championship. Should be a great fight. Cam's an up-and-comer. Luis has shown that he's a warrior. You might have seen him last time at the most recent Unified in Toronto, where he beat Michael Imperato in a fantastic fight. Our third interview today is a young man named Ashtin Dutrisac. He's an amateur mixed martial artist. He's fighting Kenneth Dunbar at BTC 37. And this is the end of the welterweight tournament. So he's had two wins already to get to this point. And this third fight, if he wins this, he'll be the amateur champion. This man's got a bright future ahead of himself. He's moved from North Bay to Sudbury, where he's training with UFC legend Mitch Gagnon at Troop MMA. And this is cool to see where he's going. That's why you need to watch amateur mixed martial arts, folks, because you never know where these young athletes are going to end up someday. And our last interview is going to be with Bhumi Loganathan. He is also a newish fighter. He's had a good amateur career. He's now 1-0 as a pro. When I reached out to him, it was with the understanding that he'd also be fighting on this BTC 37 card. However, once I contacted him, I found out that fight is being canceled for a medical issue. However, Bhumi's still a great guy. We had a nice talk, and it's good for you to get a chance to know these new athletes who you might not have been exposed to before. I also spoke with Jared Dumont from Niagara Top Team. He was also supposed to be in the BTC 37 card, so I had 3 fights lined up for the BTC 37 card. He had to withdraw. Whenever you hear that a fighter withdraws from a fight, it's typically one of a few things. It's either a medical issue, they got injured, or they didn't complete their blood work, or who knows, it could be a visa issue, one of those things. Jared's is pretty unique, and it's really interesting. I'm not going to share it now. We'll chat with him really soon, and he can share the news, but I think it's a pretty neat reason why, and it's good for him. I'm super happy for him, and if you knew, you'd be happy for him too, and you'll find out at some point, I'm sure, when he's ready to share the news. Anyway, so 4 interviews. It's going to be fun, and we're going to start off with Abdel Essam. Abdel, it's good to see you, my man. It's fight week. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good, excited for the fight. How about you?
Oh, I'm also good. It's unfortunate that I couldn't be there. As you know, I was at the last FLA. That was my first ever FLA, and I had a great time. I'd love to attend all of them, but I just won't be able to make it, unfortunately, this time.
Yeah, it's too bad. It was nice seeing you at the last one. That was my only second time seeing you after the BTC last year.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Second time in person for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
So let's just jump right into it. You're defending your Fight League Atlantic featherweight title against Allan Ruiz. Now,
hmm
speaking about the last FLA 24, Allan fought Morgan Rines and he won that fight. Did you get a
yeah.
chance to watch that fight live and in person, or were you in the back, or did you actually get to see it with your eyes?
No, I didn't get to watch it live. I had to go because I was like, it was just like made more sense since it was picked up trying to get home and stuff. But yeah, I looked back at it on Fight Pass.
And what are your thoughts on Allan Ruiz as an opponent for you?
He's got a lot of experience. He's obviously dangerous, but like everybody is. Um, yeah, I think it's a great fight. It's a challenging fight, so it's enough for me to get excited. So
Yeah, it must be tough for you to get excited. Or I'm not really sure because as a professional mixed martial artist, you're 9-0, undefeated, You've looked great in all your fights that I've seen. You look like you're absolutely one of Canada's rising stars. You train at a fantastic gym with Gavin Tucker and Pat Carroll and everyone else at Tower One Gym, which is quickly becoming one of the best gyms in the country. If not, well, no, it already is one of the best MMA gyms in the country for sure. So you have a lot going for you. It's how are you feeling just overall in general in life and in the fight game and everything else?
I honestly couldn't. Yeah, every day I feel like I'm just the luckiest person because, like you said, this is um, the Tower One is known as one of the best gyms in the country now. But as far as I'm concerned, it's the best gym in the world. So
Yeah.
we have such a good team, and everybody's improving all the time. So like we have one of the most unique situation ever as far as I'm concerned. So um, yeah, I'm super grateful. So I do my best to not take it for granted
Mm-hmm.
and just make the most of it. And with each fight, I get the opportunity to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm super excited.
What do you mean when you say you've got a unique situation at Tower One?
Well, most gyms don't have what we have really, where it's like people are, you know what I mean? Like a lot of them gyms are either like very small, and or they're like, the big marquee gyms where it's like everybody's kind of doing their own thing. But here you have multiple undefeated pros, bunch of like amateurs, but everybody's kind of elevating together and
Mm-hmm.
looking after each other, and you don't have these like separate teams within the gym. Um, and yeah, we're able to train and look after each other and all elevate together, which is it's a there's yeah, it's not too many places I think that can actually consider themselves like a real team.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people refer to their fight teams as family, and I
Hmm.
definitely get that feeling with Tower One. I know that you guys, I don't know if you participate in it, but some of your teammates they rent out Airbnbs and have fight nights where they watch pay-per-views and things, and they have D&D nights and things like that. So it just seems like you're all really meshed together and you really care about each other.
Yeah, no, it's all true. Like more often than not, every week, like if we're not family, I don't know what else you could call it, because for the amount of time we spend around each other, not just training, like every weekend basically, if there's fights, we're watching together, and then people are, like you said, making plans and having these types of evenings all the time. So um, it's it's bigger than family, like it's a community basically.
Mm-hmm.
So um, everybody wants to see everybody do well. So I think that in itself is unique because it's no fault of anybody, but most places, most everybody's gonna kind of have to look after themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but here, people are really trying to help each other and take whatever opportunity to contribute to this collective that we have.
Yeah. I think you know that I spent a large part of my life in Halifax. I was in Halifax for over 20 years, so I'm very familiar with the MMA scene there. That's where I actually started writing and covering mixed martial arts. But I find that for the rest of the country, it's really easy for them to not be aware of MMA in the Maritimes MMA. I think Fight League Atlantic has come a long way to giving you exposure and creating that sort of hype out there. But I still think for the rest of Canada, maybe they're not that familiar with maritime fighters. What to you is there a typical maritime fighter? Is there something that you all have in common, or is it just like anywhere else in the country? Maybe not just like everywhere else in the country, but it's just like a fighter in Vancouver or a fighter in Calgary might expect from their gym.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair question. There's definitely some merit to that, where like the region you're from kind of like affects, because culture is kind of where everything comes from. Um, I think it just the East Coast culture is a bit more like, has a bit more humility to it. So people are like fighters. You don't see too many of like the brash, loud
Mm,
fighters and stuff like that. So that's people tend to like overlook it, but you can't deny the changes that have been happening recently with how successful FLA is becoming.
mm-hmm.
Um, with the gym, so many of us have fought across Canada, so I feel like the East Coast presence is definitely growing. And there's growth on all fronts in the MMA scene, the jiu-jitsu scene, in the boxing and kickboxing scene too, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's just gonna keep growing.
Yep. When I was in Nova Scotia last time, I went out and I had lunch and spent some time with a really good friend of mine, and he's heavily involved in the MMA community. I'm not going to say his name, but he told me that in his opinion, Tara One, and this guy, he knows his stuff. He told me that he thinks Tara One has got something special. That it's the combination of the coaches, of the coaching, of the buy-in of all the athletes are a part of it. They're just creating like almost like a template for an excellent fighter. Like there's something there, something in that atmosphere that when you go there, it elevates you more than it would happen somewhere else. I'm just wondering if that seems like it's a fair assessment to you.
It is. We've had people come here that have said the same thing. People that have been in the game for like a very long time, experienced fighters, and even other grappler people that are just like pure grapplers, people that are training at a high level, and when you've experienced all the different, what different gyms look like and stuff like that, you can tell when there's like a unique situation, and we really do have that kind of a unique situation where you have people that can fight at that level, but also be training with people that are like fairly inexperienced, and everybody's elevating at the same time, and everybody's looking
Mm-hmm.
after each other. um yeah, that's, what I mean, like it's hard to explain, but if you experience it, it's one of those things. It's like becomes, you can tell immediately, especially if you have experience and if you've been around the scene.
Mm-hmm. I saw a really interesting interview with UFC fighter Mandel Nalo lately. He had his UFC debut in his late 30s. I think he's 36, 37 at UFC in Winnipeg. And in that time, he sat down for an interview and he said something that I really listened to and I liked. The way he described fighting, he said that fighting should pose problems for fighters. I'm paraphrasing here and I'll probably get it wrong a little bit, but you'll get the idea. He says that when a fighter takes a fight, it should be with the purpose of solving a problem. So when you take a fight against an opponent, maybe he's a really good striker. And so you want to make sure you practice your striking, or maybe you want to practice your ground game. But he said every fight you go into should have a reason for you going in it. More, not just a paycheck, clearly not just a paycheck, because I don't think that's what you're in this for. I'm just wondering when you select your fights, what's your thought process in determining if you'll accept a fight and if the opponent's the right opponent for you, and if you have any consideration whatsoever about your personal growth coming in that fight as you prepare for bigger fights down the line.
Well, this goes back to why this place is so special, because I don't want to, say anything that's not true, but a lot of this work is honestly done by Gavin, where he's the one that like kind of looks at the matchups and figures out what's the best way to prepare. And I do my best to like, do my part. Obviously, showing up is is the least you can do. Um, but yeah, like for me, it's like the Gavin kind of sets the framework for the training, and then you kind of figure out how to you have your attributes and your weapons, and you do your best to like organize them in a way that's going to be give you the best chance in the fight.
Mhm.
um, but you also have to be careful, what I mean, like you don't want to go in with too many expectations, or expectations set too hard in stone. So I do my best to like put as much effort as I can into preparing like specifically, and then once you get to the fight, you kind of have to like have an open mind, and then let things play out. Because for me, it's like I see this kind of issue come up with people when they try to like force it to be whatever it is that they want it to be,
Mhm.
or what they've prepared to be, because obviously it's like it takes such a toll on your on your thought processes and stuff like that, that you do your best to prepare, and then you just a lot of people just end up deciding that this is what it's going to be, and they try to force it, and they don't let things unfold. And as much as people are like scared of unpredictability, it can be a good thing because you can, as much as you can be surprised by a bad thing, you can also be surprised by a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're training and preparing well, you can, like, a lot of times you just end up surprising yourself with how well you do. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that's how I try and think about it, because at the end of the day, it's like MMA is just so chaotic that, like, the best you can do is really be in the moment. And in terms of like practicing that problem, you don't really know for sure until you're in there with the guy. So it's almost like you try to like narrow things down and you practice solving that problem in real time, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're gonna have to do most likely.
You've mentioned Gavin a handful of times, and for those people who are watching who might not know, Gavin Tucker was one of Canada's best fighters for many, many years. He was an extremely technical fighter. His skill set was beyond reproach, and he had some success in the UFC, but his career was cut short due to a lot of injuries. So I'm very happy to see him find so much success as a coach. I'm wondering if you can take a minute or two, or as long as you want, really, just talk about Gavin as a coach and how he fits into Tower One. I know he's the main guy, but I mean, how involved is he in your life overall? Does he, does the coaching stop at the doors of the gym when you come in, when you leave? How much effort does he put into you and other fighters?
Honestly, Gavin, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do as much as he does for other people. Like, if you're part of the team, you're as much as of a family member as you could be. So he'll do everything he can to help you without you even asking. Like, the amount of things he's done for me, and the help he's given me without me sometimes even knowing that he's doing it is kind of unbelievable, I think. Um, so yeah, he's and I've been that's why I was saying, like, I'm so lucky because I haven't done any MMA training with anybody other than Gavin since I started. Like, I was a
Mm-hmm.
blue belt in jiu-jitsu. I started training with him. We were just doing jiu-jitsu and then slowly transitioned to MMA. Um, so yeah, he's very, very, very involved. He's there for people. Like, obviously, I don't want to say too much, but he does everything in his power to help everybody around him. It's very unique.
I'm guessing when you see a person, in this case Gavin, invest so much themselves into you and your potential and your future, it kind of makes it like a loop where that makes you want to make them proud of you when you put in the effort that they know you can do, right? Like, it
Mhm.
makes you sort of reliant on them for, you wanting to make sure you don't let them down.
Yeah, no, that's very true. You can't help it. Like, it's um and not only in that sense, but like when you see somebody doing so much for others, um you, like, as a fighter, I feel like it's not uncommon, at least, to be selfish. Um but it's inspired me to try and do more for people and help where I can, because you have to be so self-involved as a fighter and just focused on what you need and what you should be doing and all
Mhm.
that. But yeah, what you said couldn't be more true. It's just, yeah, it's when you see someone being so selfless and giving so much of themselves to help the people around them. You're like, I don't know if I deserve this, but I'm gonna do everything I can to
Mhm.
give it back to you and everybody else around us.
That's awesome. Okay, we're nearing the end of the chat. I just want to kind of talk about your future, your prospects. Let's say the end of this weekend you have your arm raising victory. Like, I don't like to put any pressure on you, but I don't think there's a reason why you should lose this fight. I'm willing to bet. I don't bet at all on fights at all. I don't bet on any sports. But if I were, I would say, if I was that kind of guy, I would bet on you to win. So that would make you 10-0 as a professional fighter. And I think it seems to me like you're probably nearing the end of where you can go with the regional scene. I'm wondering if there's been any discussion about what's next. Are you planning on sticking with Fight League Atlantic for as long as you can, or are you really going to have any kind of push for the UFC Contender Series, or even maybe just someplace else, somewhere, maybe LFA or maybe CFFC or something like those?
Well, I don't know too much about it. Like I said, Gavin, luckily he handles a lot of that, but he's told me a little bit where he's got like some contingencies and backups on what we can do after this fight. If we don't get, like a Contender Series or a UFC call, because that's definitely the goal at the moment.
Yeah, for
We've had
sure.
calls like we've had some. Not sure if I'm allowed to say, but we've had some discussions with like some big promotions as
Mhm.
well. Um, but we're kind of focused on getting that UFC call at the moment. So
Yeah.
that's the yeah, that's the plan for now.
Yeah, I realize now my question to you, I don't think it was entirely fair because you're doing what you can do, right? You're signing fights, you're winning fights, and that's really the all should be expected of you. I mean, a lot of the rest of it just comes down to things like luck, and just inroads and relationships with other organizations. So, like as a fighter, you're doing what you should do, man. You're doing it right. You're doing it well. You're doing it with excellence. So, I mean, that's all anybody can ask of you at this point, I think.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that's what I usually say when people ask me about what's next and stuff like that. It's just um you don't get like like I started out as a fan, and you obviously don't know much about like what goes on behind the
Hmm.
scenes, but once you get into it you realize like how much there's how much not politics, but it's like any other business. There's so much more outside of the thing that people see that actually the, like decides how things play out.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, so much of it is just so outside of my control. Um, and I have enough to focus on in terms of just preparing for fights and performing. So I'm just gonna do my best to focus on that, and God willing,
Yeah.
things take care of themselves outside of that.
Okay, well, Abdel, I'm also thankful that Fight League Atlantic has signed a deal with UC Fight Pass, so I won't be able to watch it on fight night, watch your fight, but I'll be able to watch it shortly after, and I'm looking forward to that. Regardless, I know you're going to have an excellent performance. I'm just wondering, before we go, is there anything you think we should have talked about that I didn't ask you?
Um,
It's not a trick question.
you didn't say anything about how nice the barbershop is. No,
Yeah,
I'm
show
just
us the
kidding.
barber. Tell us about the barbershop.
Yeah, Gavin had this idea to like do the Grumpy's barbering, and then he came up with some posters for all these like famous characters where they look grumpy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a cool spot, and we just got poker table, so it's become kind of a barbershop slash, which I guess what barbershops are is like a hangout spot.
Mm.
Um, it's pretty neat. What else? We've had like the other side's been growing a lot. We've been having like a great boxing program, so having the influence from the boxers coming in and training has been super helpful for our training. Everybody's boxing is getting better, but
Mm.
yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure if I should say this, but I will just because I'm that kind of guy. But I think you should ask for your money back because I think they took a little too much off the top.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I'm just
Yeah.
starting to grow up my beard. So, do you have any advice for a beard trimming? I'm due for my first ever beard trim, probably in a week or so. Are there any things I should look out for?
You just let it go for as long as possible is what I do. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, just let it go as long as possible. Let it get crazy, and then go from there.
Okay. Good advice. Maybe I'll follow that. All right, Abdel. Thank you, my man. Best of luck in your title defense. Fight League Atlantic Featherweight Champion Abdel Essam fighting at Fight League Atlantic 25 in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia this weekend. Cam, it's great to talk to you, my man. You're always an interesting guy to talk with. I've met you a handful of times in person, and you seem like you're a very good guy. So this is Fight Week, and it's got to be an exciting time for you. Tell me about Fight Week. What's that look like to you?
Yeah, obviously fight week, the excitement, the just all the emotions that come with it. Getting used to it now. This is pro fight number 8. I had 3 amateur fights as well, so you get a little more comfortable with the process each time. I just landed home actually yesterday. I was up in Niagara for about 3.5 weeks, doing a bulk of the camp up there. So landed home in Charlottetown, PEI here, 10:30 or so in the morning yesterday, and just had my first training session here at noon. Little shakeout, keep getting the weight down, everything that goes with making weight, all that fun stuff. So yeah, getting settled in and gearing up for Saturday.
Awesome. Now you've done things how I feel is kind of the right way, right? Like you started off with an amateur career, you found success there. You were 3-0 as an amateur, 6-1 as a pro now. You've been building yourself up, taking tougher and tougher fights. I get the feeling like Fight Like Atlantic has a lot of faith in you, and it seems like they really care about having you progress as a fighter. Tell me what it's like being a part of that organization.
Yeah, obviously FLA has been a massive part of my martial arts career. I think 9 of my 10 fights between pro and amateur have been with them. And yeah, I've built a great relationship with Derek, John, all the staff, a lot of the fighters as well. I mean, we have a lot of the same roster that's kind of come up together. They kind of built their roster based on, starting off with amateur guards where guys were 0-0 or 1-0 versus 0-0 type thing, and they built them up. And so it's really cool to be a part of a brand that, built its roots in Atlantic Canada and, has become what it is today, which is, one of the top promotions in the country. So just super blessed to be a part of it and for them to really push me and give me big fights and give me main event fights and title fights and things like that. So just feeling blessed and ready to go, man.
Nice. Now you are very well known in the Maritimes. However, for the rest of the country, maybe not so much. Would you mind just taking a moment, introduce yourself, say who you are, where you're from, and how you got involved in combat sports?
For sure. So obviously my name is Cam Nelson. I'm 27 years old. I'm a mixed martial artist here from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. And I've been training. I started training, honestly, it hasn't been a crazy long time. It was around COVID time. I used to play hockey before. And my final year at junior, the season got cut short because obviously COVID happened. So I was kind of looking for, another endeavor, another sport to kind of get into. And I started training at Hensel Gracie PEI with Matt McGrath around that time. And I always knew I wanted to fight, at least, give it a go and kind of see how things worked out. And then obviously you take the first amateur fight, it goes well. And then it's, you're hooked from there, right? So just incrementally kind of chipped away and now we're here. So
I'm going to ask you a question I really like asking to fighters because I find their answers are varied and always very interesting. I'm wondering, as you progress through your training and your fighting, was there any point in time or was there a certain event that happened that let you know, look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, hey, I'm actually good at this and I can give this a shot?
I think it's like a mix of just consistent training and then obviously being successful in the cage and, showing up when it matters the most. To pinpoint one specific one, it's hard to say. I mean, like when I finished my third amateur fight, I was 3-0, 3 finishes, and I was like, okay, I had a TKO, I had a couple submissions, so I'm like, okay, I can get it done both ways. I'm getting in there. I'm feeling more comfortable with each one, taking a little tougher fights each time. So I think maybe making the switch from amateur to pro, I'm like, okay, I'm really going to take a healthy stab at this, and I really want to see how far I can kind of take this. And then obviously as I progressed through the pro ranks, had different fights, lost even a split decision. I was able to go the distance, had a kind of a grueling fight and a good lesson learned early on in my career. And then I think as I progressed through my career, going up to Niagara top team, training with guys, like Malott and AJ and, that super deep room up there. And, hanging in with those guys and being like, okay, so this is, some of the most elite athletes in the country and best MMA athletes come out of Canada. And I'm hanging in and I'm, having my moments. So I think that's kind of a tell as well. And then the rest is just putting in the time, man, not taking shortcuts, not cheating myself. And just, being about it. This is really something that, you're either all the way in or all the way out. So yeah, I think it's just a culmination of a lot of things if I had to shorten the answer up.
Yep. So I don't know if they've expressed it too directly, but the Niagara top team guys all tell me that you fit in really well and that you're a good trainer. And in a room like that, where they're all so skilled, and the number one component of their success, according to them, is hard work. To have somebody come in and they feel like you're a part of it, that's a good sign for you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about going up there. It's been like, I mean, I think I first went up in April 2024, and like I said, I just got back Sunday, and I want to say that was trip number 9 up there, over 2 years. So I've spent probably like 4 or 5 months of the last, 20 some months up there, honestly. So it's been a lot of back and forth, and yeah, man, it's been awesome. It's been a huge element of my growth and my development as a fighter. And like I said, above just the things I pick up on the mats, it's just the friendships I've built with everyone in there off the mats as well. We're always hanging out and doing stuff. We'll go for a round of golf or go for a walk, grab dinner, lunch, stuff like that, right? So it's more than just showing up to train. It's funny, me and Prickett were just talking about this too. It's like how important it is to enjoy the people you're training with and spending day in day out with. We were up there training twice a day, right? So it makes it so much easier to get up and be like, hey, I want to go to the gym today because I'm going to hang out with friends and people I enjoy being around, and the atmosphere is so great and everyone's helping everyone. So obviously that definitely adds to it for sure. So
yeah. Now, you're in a very similar situation to a lot of regional fighters, not even just in Canada, but everywhere, in that you have to balance your fight career with an actual career that pays the bills and brings you income. How are you able to balance working for the government and also putting in as much time and effort as you need to travel and to hit the gym twice a day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's certainly it's a balance for sure. I mean, like I said, I've done it enough times now over the last couple of years that I'm finally, knowing how to kind of juggle everything. And sometimes, you got to take the foot off the gas and focus on one thing rather than another. But usually it's the training that takes top priority every time. So I'm lucky I'm in a position where I can work remotely at times and it's flexible and things like that. And mind you, I'm not, out digging ditches or, roofing a house. I have a more relaxed job where I can at least recover somewhat. I mean, you're still working. It's still mentally, you still have to be on, so it can be draining sometimes, but it's just part of it, man. At least I'm in a position where, I have the flexibility to be able to travel up there and train and, rent a car and book flights and things like that. So I'm very blessed in that sense. And, I just pour all my, effort and heart and soul into fighting. So I kind of tell people it's like it funds my fighting career in a way. So we'll keep that one maybe off the record.
Yeah, I feel the same way with my job. I mean, my job pays the bills and lets me go to fights and do things like that. So I'm very grateful for it. All right, let's move on to this weekend. You're fighting at FLA 25. You're fighting a Mexican fighter named Luis Guerrero. Now, his name literally means Guerrero is warrior, and he has actually been in some really good wars in Canada, and he's found some success, had some wins. When you heard his name, he was actually the second opponent, I think, for you.
Yeah.
What did you think about him, and what did you know about him?
I didn't know a ton. I remember I'd watched his fight with Imperato on Unified there. I think it was last year somewhat, and it was kind of a war. Like the guys kind of threw caution to the wind and just really got after it there. So I was impressed with I knew he was a high flyer. He's coming to win. He's coming to throw down. So I know he's accustomed to putting on exciting fights, much like myself. So I think that's going to bode well for the fans for sure. I think it's going to be an exciting one. Other than that, didn't know a ton about him. Like you had mentioned, I kind of went through a couple opponents for this card. So this was a shorter notice exception from his end. So he took it kind of shorter notice. So I was really thankful for him for stepping up, coming up a weight class, and just being, like you said, a warrior, right? He's taking it on short notice. He's moving up, so kudos to him. But my plan is to go in there and get my belt.
Nice. You mentioned you're fighting for a belt. That's got to be exciting. It's always nice to have that kind of resume or a little title of a champion on your resume. Sure. It bodes well for the rest of your career. I'm wondering, for anybody who's never seen you fight before, take a moment and just describe your fight style. What can fans expect to see when Cam Nelson steps into a cage?
I would say it's kind of it's evolved over the years for sure. I used to kind of be an all gas, no brakes kind of guy. Obviously, that's your young and naive kind of mindset a little bit. I think I was a little, overconfident or overzealous in my amateur fights. I would kind of just walk guys down and say, I'm just going to melt right through this guy. But obviously, as you progress through the ranks, you meet some adversity and some tests. But I think I definitely still have that element to my game. It's just much more polished, and I like to pick my spots a little more, but very much so going to move forward, going to mix it up. I'm not a one-dimensional grappler or striker. I will do everything on the feet or on the ground. And I just try to take what presents itself to me. That's one thing I've come to learn over my 7 pro fights so far in amateur career. It's calm is king in there. So get in there, trust your reflexes, trust your eyes, stay on the bike, move around, and just kind of take what's given to you. And if a brawl is forced, I'm ready to, meet it, but it's going to be calculated and it's going to be on my terms. So, but you can definitely expect I'm always going to be looking for the finish and looking to make it exciting for the fans for sure.
I know a lot of fighters practice visualization and they think about their fight and they plan what they're going to do and they take a look at tape of their opponent. Let's fast forward a moment. It's the morning after your fight. You wake up the next morning, or maybe you're still up all night. I don't know. Regardless, the next day, you're reflecting on the fight the night before. It ends with your arm raising victory. What did you have to do in that fight? How do you see that fight unfolding, and what does a perfect fight look like to you?
I think a perfect fight, it's hard to really encapsulate exactly what I would want it to be, but I get in there and perform. I trust my abilities. I trust my training, and I'm just free in there. And I don't force anything. I don't force exchanges. I don't force takedowns. I just let it materialize, and I take what's given. I set traps that he walks into. I stay at my range. I engage on my terms, and I get my hand raised, whether that be by knockout, submission, or decision, whatever it's got to be. Like I said, I'm always hunting for the finish. But if it's got to be a 5-round decision that I got to grind out and make it slimy, then so be it. But I'm hunting for the KO or submission. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I always like finishing interviews with this question. Is there anything that you think we should have talked about that I didn't ask you?
We stayed fairly fight related, I think, Andy. But yeah, nothing off the top of my head. Me and you, like you said, we've chatted outside the arenas and the fights before you were down at FLA in April there. It was great to catch up. I got a few questions for you, I think, next time regarding your, ex-military career. Like I said, I work with veterans on the daily basis. So maybe that will be more for one for me and you when you come back to the Maritimes. We'll hit up a nice restaurant or something and chat about that. But nothing off the top of my head, man. Just want to thank you for the time and thank you for the exposure leading up to this fight for me. And all ready on this side of things, so ready to go.
Hey, yeah, it's my pleasure, and I'd love to sit down and have some food with you, either in Maritimes or next time you're in Niagara. I know I've always missed you every time because I live right there. But it'll happen for sure. Regardless, I want to say, Cam, best of luck this weekend. I hope you have a great fight. I hope you perform to the utmost of your abilities, and we see you emerge as a champion. So thanks for your time.
Appreciate it, Andy, as always. Be chatting.
Ashtin, it's nice to speak with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I couldn't be better. I'm living the dream. Thanks for asking.
Perfect.
So because you're basically a brand new fighter, you're an amateur fighter with a 5-1 record out of Ontario. Please take a moment. Please just take a moment, introduce yourself, say your name, who you are, where you're from, and how you got involved in combat sports.
Okay. This is a big story, actually, man. Freaking. I've always known I could do it. I've always wanted to get involved into martial arts because to be honest, I've watched all these UFC fighters do it, and I'm like, man, why can't I do that? I'm disciplined. I have traumatic, oh my God, I can't speak. I have a very good body, man. I feel like I'm more physically fit than most people, I knew if I worked towards it that I'd be able to, become a pro athlete, no matter what sport I chose to do. I like soccer, I liked hockey, but I really, really liked watching UFC, and I was really like, man, these guys are making good money. You look badass. You get to kick, punch, submit. It's the total package. You know what I mean? I see all these people in North Bay, where I came from, small town, watching the UFC, and I'm like, man, one day I'll be up there and they'll all be watching me. That's what went through my head leading up to my martial arts
Yeah.
career.
Yeah. It's interesting. I ask that question often, and I think you just gave me the most honest to God, honest answer I've ever heard because it looks badass.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
man.
true. It's true. It's true. That's a lot
Yeah.
of people get into it that way.
There's
So
definitely no plan B. I've devoted so much to this sport. I moved away from home, freaking, I come from a different life than most. It's not, no silver spoon, like I didn't choose to become a fighter because, I did it because I thought I could do it. I wanted to do it. I am doing it. And I'm so excited to go pro. I'm really, really hopeful after this, maybe one or two more, that I'll be able to get that pro debut.
So you've got 6 fights under your belt so far. You are fighting this weekend at BTC in the finals of your tournament.
Yeah.
So is that what you're saying? Like after this fight, you're going to be going pro?
After this fight or one or two more, yeah, for sure. Maybe I defend the title. It'd be nice to have one to hang at home and then one to hang at the gym. You know what I mean? So 2 titles would be great. But yeah, all in all, the end game is UFC. The end game is pro as soon as possible. I'm young. Injuries heal quick. I could really make that push to get where I need to be, and I know where I need to be, and I know where I want to be before like 25. I'm 21 now. Before I'm 25, I really, really, really want to make it to that UFC level.
Well, man, to me, it seems like you're sitting pretty, right? You've already got a really good amateur career. You could go pro right away, but really there's no rush these days. Amateurs, it's a fighter's market for amateur fighters in Ontario right now.
Yeah.
There's so many promotions seeking fighters, and they just can't fill their rosters fast enough. So you could fight as much as you want, as long as that's
100%.
something that you plan for with your coaches and teammates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, man. Listen, if this fight goes as easy as good as I want it to, if it goes as smooth as I want it to, and I don't sustain a lot of damage, and I get her done quick, like I'm known to do in a lot of my earlier fights, I have a really good game plan for this guy, and I feel like I'm going to play it out. I feel really confident in my ability to take a fight within the next little bit, one more amateur, before going pro, if this fight goes smoothly.
I've seen you fight a handful of times. I think at least one in person at a Thick Boy Fight Club. Talk about your fight style. When fans watch you fight inside the cage for the first time, what can they expect to see from Ashtin Dutrisac?
Well, to be honest with you, man, freaking here in MMA, I think I mix it up very well. I think, I have quite a few kickboxing fights under my resume. I've done a lot of kickboxing fights. I've done a lot of smokers. And, now I've transferred over to MMA, and I think it just mixes in so well because I'm in a really good place with Mitch, with Professor Richard Nankoon, with all these guys, to build such a good, strong ground game, a really good submission game, a really good wrestling game, really good takedown defense. But I really noticed that I haven't really got to showcase any of the striking in my last few fights. Everybody I go against, they're either, I remember early in my career there was this guy named Garrett. I knew he was a striker, so why am I going to strike with a guy who's a deadly striker? A dangerous striker. I wouldn't say deadly. We're not pro yet, but a dangerous striker. So I mixed in the takedown right away. I wanted that to be known, and I was able to put him away in under a minute. So I look forward to hopefully show like the mixed martial arts. I look forward to show that I'm a really good striker and show that I can mix up the takedowns with the striking. Because like the other fights, they've all been pretty grappling orientated.
Yeah, that's the 100% the George St. Pierre attitude towards fighting. Like he was very cerebral going into his fights, game planning, analyzing his opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and tailoring his attack plan to suit that opponent. So, yeah. So speaking about that, your opponent this weekend, what do you know about him?
I know he's a heavy-handed southpaw. I know he has good takedown defense. I know he is no slouch when it comes to the striking. I know that, he's, I didn't really see much of his grappling, but I definitely know that he wouldn't be fighting for a title if he didn't have some grappling. I look forward to striking with him. I know he's a southpaw, so I know that I have to keep moving the one way and mix in moving the other. You know, you got to watch the power side, but you also want to lead toward the lead side, but you don't want to become too predictable and walk into something.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling pretty confident there. You know, I've watched quite a few tapes on him there, and I'm feeling like I built a really good game plan around it.
Nice. Now you've already mentioned Mitch. That's your coach, Mitch Gagnon, former UFC fighter, and Richard Nanku, the Monkey, is a very renowned fighter in Canada. Talk about them as your coaches, and talk about the training environment where you train and what a training week looks like to you.
To be honest, man, I get there, I get in, you know, we got, I've actually took on a couple coaching, mantles now. You know, I teach kids class and sometimes I teach, beginners kickboxing. So, you know, like there and there, you know, I'm enjoying coaching, but then when we switch over to my training, you know, I come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and these are all our MMA days. These are all like, you're getting wall wrestled. You know, you cage wrestling, friggin', we're working our takedowns, we're working our sprawls, we're working getting back up, we're working front headlock, we're working a couple submissions, we're going live, you know, and then right after that we have a kickboxing class, and then, and then it goes through like simple head movement drills, simple 1-2s, you know, not overthinking stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I think
just getting well-rounded, you know.
And that's a smart attitude, because you know, as good as you are already, let's keep in mind you are an amateur, and as an amateur, this is designed for you to develop your skills with 100%. lower risk to yourself to the fight, right? Like 100%. Even if you lose a fight, it's sure it sucks, but it's not the end of the world, and it's better to lose a fight as an amateur as long as you learn something from it and you get better than it would be to lose as a professional.
Oh yeah, it's still so bitter though. Like it doesn't matter if there's a paycheck on the line or not, you know, that's just the competitiveness in me, you know, like playing sports my whole life, just that want to not to lose, man, you know, just it's not even in my head. I don't even like to think of ways, you know, or what plan B is after I lose that, you know, there's no plan B, you know, you're winning. That's the mentality that I have going into every fight I do, you know, where you're going to win no matter what. Either you're going to knock them out, you're going to sub them, you're going to win a boring fight, you're going to hold them down and just, you know, do your thing, you know, threaten a couple submissions, but you're going to win, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
How long have you
Sorry, you go.
No, how long have you been training now, Ashtin?
Where with Mitch or with
just in general training any type of combat sports?
5 years now, I think 4 years. Okay. Started when I was 16. Yeah, so 5 years.
Nice. And then what you made the move to Sudbury?
Yeah.
And how long ago was that to train with Mitch?
2 years ago.
Nice. And I'm guessing you found it's paying off dividends.
Man, the know-how of the sport that he has is truly something to behold, man. Like there's no coach that I've seen so far, you know. It's him being at the top of the top, you know, being able to get there and do his thing, you know, in the UFC, you know, he knows what it takes. You know, it takes proper diet, it takes discipline, no partying, you know, all things that I do very well. You know, like, and I'm getting to train it more and more as an amateur, you know, and now I'm looking forward to doing it as a pro.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the BTC tournament. This is the finals. At the start of it, did you go into this knowing that there'd be, you know, any fight's a challenge, but having to win like 3 fights to win something, it's even more of a stressor, I'm guessing. Is that something that ever concerned you, or were you confident from the start?
No, man, to be honest, as far as I'm looking at it, I'm already the champion, you know, like that's just, we were all the number 1 contender, you know, me and this gentleman are the champion, and now we are going to face off, and one of us will walk away with the belt, you know, like at the end of the day, the kid that I just beat, I think his name's Callum Ryder, he, you know, was, a lot of people had hype behind him, and, you know, I was able to, you know, and this is me saying, like, I think that this is one of the top. This bracket is one of the top amateur fights in Ontario right now. Mm-hmm. You know, I like to think that Matthew Zion, you know, and Kenneth Dunbar and the other two, that were in the other bracket, they were at the top of their game too. You know, Matthew Zion already having a belt, Kenneth Dunbarton having 15 fights or something
Yep.
like that, you know, from America here, you know, and then the Callum Ryder that I just fought, you know, very good jiu-jitsu, you know, coming from a UFC gym such as myself. You know, I feel like we couldn't have matched that up better.
That's exciting. Well,
Yeah.
I unfortunately I won't be able to attend your fight, but I'm going to wish you the best of luck. I hope you're fully prepared and you show up as your best self that night. And before we get going, I'm just wondering if there's anything you think we should have talked about that I didn't ask you.
No, man. I think you covered all the bases, dude. I'm ready to go, man. I'm super, super excited to get my title. I've put in so much work, and I'm ready to go.
All right, Ashton, thanks for your time, man. I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you someday.
Yes, sir. You'll see me pro.
There you go, fight friends. Ashtin Dutrisac fighting at BTC 37 this weekend.
Thank you.
Bhumi, it's good to see you. I saw you last night when I was talking with Abdel, just in the background for 30 seconds. But now it's time for us to chat for a bit. How are you doing, man?
I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, I'm good. Just training and trying to get better every day. You know what I mean? Yeah, just getting after it.
I do know what you mean. Okay, so as you know, because you watch my channel, I like interviewing all sorts of fighters. I interview UFC fighters. I interview fighters who have a lot of experience. Plus, I also interview amateur fighters and professional fighters who are who are coming up, who are just getting started. And that's the category that you fall in. You had a really good amateur career. You now want to know as a professional. Would you mind just taking a minute, introducing yourself? Say your name, say who you are, say where you're from, and how you got involved in combat sports.
So my name is Bhumi Loganathan. I'm originally from Ottawa. I was born in Toronto, grew up in Montreal, and then we moved to Ottawa in middle school. And I started off doing Japanese jiu-jitsu, and at that gym they had Brazilian jiu-jitsu and kickboxing, and I always knew I wanted to do MMA. So in high school I started doing jiu-jitsu and competing in jiu-jitsu, and then I did a bunch of jiu-jitsu right before school was over, and then I had my first amateur fight a week after I graduated high school, and then just kind of competed a bunch after that, and then I lost my third amateur fight, and before that I'd go every week to Fight Factory and train there, and I lost that fight pretty badly in the first round, and I kind of knew I had to change stuff up. So I went to Fight Factory after that, and then I was in Ottawa. I competed with Fight Factory for I think 2 years, and then now I'm in Halifax, training at Tower 1 with Gavin and the crew.
Yep. Talk about, you mentioned Fight Factory. That's, of course, 613 Fight Factory with crew Jeff Harrison. Really well respected, especially in the Muay Thai community, but also in the MMA community. Muay Thai is his roots, but he's a really well-rounded, good MMA coach. Talk about the importance of having a good team around you, first with 613 and now with Tower 1.
Honestly, it's a world of difference. You can see guys that have experience and guys who have been there before, in both winning and losing positions, and to know how to rebuild someone, and also how to mold a good fighter. You see it in at Fight Factory, and then also here at Tower 1. It's really cool to see and have different coaches bring out different personalities in fighting. When people fight, it shows shows kind of who they are, and the different styles and stuff. And it's it's really cool to see guys like Gavin and Jeff bring out they care different aspects of you in fighting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
Talk about fighting in general. What is it about fighting, about getting inside a cage with another human being with the intent of doing damage and potentially receiving damage yourself? What is it about that appeals to you?
I think it's I'm sure a lot of people have said this before, but it's a high stake chess match, and it's it really is all what's in your head, where your head's at, and it's just you all your decisions have to not all of them have to be the right one, but the majority of the decisions you make
Mhm.
in the cage have to be the right one for you to end up winning. And even the slightest mistake can cost you a fight, especially
Yeah.
as like people like as you progress and people are better and better, like the people you fight. Like it just takes one mistake and to you know what I mean, change your night, change the you know the 6 months after your fight. You know what I mean? Like and it's just like I really like the pressure. Like you feel like it engages you, like the even like fight camp or leading up to the fight. Like it's just like I like the obsessiveness of it. Like it's like it's not like it's like nothing else. Like nothing else can gives you that feeling. Like walking to that cage and like seeing your opponent and seeing him look back at you and like hearing the people, you know, seeing the door close, hearing the referee, like when the referee pulls you guys both in and asks you guys to touch gloves, and like it's just like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like the best feeling.
Prior to fighting, were you involved in any other kind of sports?
Yeah, I did. I ran a lot. Like I did cross country and track and field like throughout high school,
Mm-hmm.
and actually one of my like neighbors was like an Olympic biathlon coach, and like he had me do like really weird workouts, but like I found like they really translated well like cardio wise
Yeah.
into MMA. Like I feel like I have an extra like a push with that, and yeah, so I did a lot of cross country, a lot of the track and field, and I played a bit of basketball too.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
don't want to ask you to reveal any top secrets, but what kind of exercises did he have you do, or things to do that made you think
I
that
don't know.
you improve your cardio?
I think it was just like the it was the like the quantity of training. Like I used to run like 120 kilometers a week,
Mm-hmm.
like through the whole year, like through the winter, through like summer, everything. And then also like a lot of the interval training, like it was like bounding up hills and like weird stuff like that. Like it's just like unusual, but I feel like it did give me an advantage. Like coming into like MMA, like I thought, like I feel like my cardio is I feel like I have a natural ability with cardio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that your fight style will develop and change over the course of the
Yeah.
years when you continue training, talk about what kind of fighter you are now. Like if somebody were to watch you fight for the first time, what would they see
Yeah.
inside the cage? And after that, talk about how you see yourself progressing in the future. Like where do you have to go in fighting?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I feel like last time I fought was like about a year ago, and I feel like then I was a completely different fighter than I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was very grappling heavy, and like I was like I'm gonna get this takedown, and I'm gonna hold you down and punch you in the face and try to choke you out. Like that was like my objective, and it was like no matter how many takedowns, how many shots I had to take for you to get you down, I would do that. And
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like over the last year, it's completely changed. Like I want to be a mixed martial artist. I don't want to like. Obviously, it's good to be specialized in one area, but I want to be able to do everything and anything to the
Mm-hmm.
person I'm fighting. And like, especially over the last couple months, like I feel like my boxing's really like improved. And like I was supposed to fight June 6th, so I was like I really wanted to put that on display, but hopefully I'll be able to put that on display in a couple months. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel like a completely different fighter. I want to like I want when people watch me, I want them to like see mixed martial arts and not just like I want to be able to do everything and anything. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's the goal. That's the goal of a mixed
Yeah.
martial artist. You want to be, you want your skill set to be widespread.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first time
Yeah.
I met you in person was when you were still living in Ottawa, and I met you with Crew Jeff Harrison for your BTC fight. And then I ran into you unexpectedly last month or 2 months ago in Nova
Yeah.
Scotia, and you told me that you had moved there and you're now training at Tower One. Talk about
Yeah.
what prompted you to make that change to move across the country.
To be honest, I was in Ottawa and I just like Ottawa's really busy and everyone's in a rush to get somewhere and like I was just like I love Fight Factory. I love the guys at Fight Factory. I love Jeff, Pete, Mateo, Ilya, all of those guys, Mo. But like I was just kind of like tired of Ottawa, and it was just like it was like very fast paced. Like I was like just not in a good like space mentally, and I came out to Tower One in September of last year just for a month, and I really like the guys. I really like Jay Kelly. He's another 125er, so it was like it was good to train with like a guy my size. Like it it was really good. Like Jake's has a bit more he has a bit more experience than I do, so it was also good to learn how be with another 125er.
Sure.
And then like I kind of went back to Ottawa after that month, and I kind of just worked for a bit, and I was like, I'm gonna just move to Nova Scotia. I really like the people, I like the environment, I like Gavin does he's really there for his fighters through and through, and I like the environment that he has. It's like a gym, but it feels more like you can hang out there all day. Like there's always people around. It's a really good environment. And I was like, I really want to move down here, train with Gavin and Jake and all the other guys. It's a really good environment. And more importantly, it was just nice to be out of Ottawa and to be in Halifax is really nice. Dartmouth's really nice. Like there's the ocean's really nice. I really like it's like quiet. There's not a lot of people. It's nice and chill.
Yeah. So of course, this weekend there's there's several fight cards across Canada, including Fight League Atlantic in Dartmouth, where you live, and also one where you're coming to in Mississauga, or is it Burlington? I don't remember, for BTC. Yeah. So it's kind of funny how you're right in the backyard of one fight promotion, but you're traveling across the country. I guess, how are you splitting up your coaches and your support team? Who's coming out with you to Ontario?
Well, I was supposed to fight June 6th, but that fight got canceled, actually. There was some medical stuff that couldn't get cleared in time. So it isn't going to happen. But from Tower One, there's John, Ryan, Sam, Abdel, and Ty fighting, and I think Abdel's fighting for the 145 belt, and he's gonna kill it. Ty's making his pro debut. He's I think he's had 5 or 6 amateur fights, and he's gonna kill it. And then Sam is coming back after I think 2 years off, and he's they're all just really sharp, and you can see that they're ready. Even the way they're hitting pads or their demeanor, it's nice. And then in BTC, there's actually a couple of guys that I trained with, Anton, Jordan. Hammett, he's 18. He's from Fight Factory. He's making his pro debut. So him, and then Moise, another guy from Fight Factory. So, and then I have one more guy from Ottawa. I used to train with them back in Ottawa. He runs his own gym. Ryan Hickey, he's also making his pro debut. So
cool.
I think there's 10 people that I know personally and have seen them around that are fighting. So to be honest, I'm not fighting, but I'm seeing all these guys that I know that are fighting. It makes me happy for them, and I really want to see them all do really well and succeed and get finishes in dominant style.
Oh, see, this is news to me. I didn't realize your fight had been canceled. What happened there?
It was just some of the medical stuff couldn't get cleared in time. It's nothing super serious, but it was just it's just some of this medical stuff couldn't get cleared in time. So the fight got rescheduled for September. So hopefully, God willing, that works out.
Well, that just gives you time to get better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you do when you're not training? You said you work.
I worked HVAC back in Ottawa. Actually, one of my old training partners, he owns a company, and he also sponsors me, Wombolt HVAC, and I worked that back in Ottawa. But it's the hours are kind of messed up. It's not messed up, but there's really long hours, so it doesn't really work well with training. So here I got I got a job working security, so I'm doing that. But worked HVAC for a while.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Bhumi, this is the point where I always finish interviews. I ask the same question. Is there anything you think we should have talked about that I didn't ask you?
No, like I don't know. I really enjoy that. Like I feel like you really give people a space to talk, and it's like especially fighters. Like it's sometimes people come at you and they're a bit like biased, but it feels like very like open, which is nice, and I really enjoy that. Like yeah.
Oh, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man. Yeah, I really, yeah. I love seeing what you do for Canadian MMA.
Well, it's a two-way street, right? Like I do my part, but if it weren't
Yeah,
for fighters like you and others who give up your time and your consideration for me, none of this would happen. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate it. I'm excited.
thanks.
I think you're a bright talent. I think you've got a big future ahead of you if you choose to pursue this even further, which I hope you do. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to see where you go from here.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it a lot. That means a lot. Yeah.
All right, Boomy. Thanks for the chat. Take care, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Andy. See you.